pick up that old fossil.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Badabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And it's come to an end, Kenton. The Mandalorian Season 3 is over. We have the final episode 8 was yesterday. What day is it? It's Friday, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just the time has stopped. Time seems to be a standstill. I've been so impacted by this. Of course, it delivered. It was an amazing show, I think, in a lot of ways. But what were your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was fantastic. I think whatever people's complaints were about the season, I really don't share those complaints. I mean, I don't know. I just didn't think, I didn't see anything really that worth complaining about, to tell you the truth. I'll complain when something is hollow and without a soul, like things like that. But I thought, the ending was so exciting and it wasn't just empty excitement. There was a lot of emotion that it tapped into as well. And I felt myself tearing up the first time I was watching it. I thought it was very, very emotional.
More than anything else, it felt like a movie. I wished I could be in a theater watching it. It felt a lot like I just had the vibe of the original trilogy for some reason throughout this. But I could tell, you know what, when we're talking about, complaining, I'll complain about Star Trek. The Star Trek finale was also this week, and it was not good. We'll get into The Mandalorian. Let me complain about Star Trek, because that was, holy boy.
I saw a guy saying, because I'm not going to watch it, right?
Right.
So today on YouTube, there's a guy going, I'm going to review it. So, all right, I'll watch the review. And the guy was so positive about it. I thought, really? I was like, wow, this show must be the best ever.
God, it was
Go
awful.
ahead. Why was it terrible?
Well, for a number of different ways. Now, I've already, I think, said on this podcast that season 2 was awful, and that's generally accepted among fans that it was not a great season. So this season, the big thing was, of course, bringing back the cast of the original Next Generation show, which was my kind of growing up childhood show that got me started on Star Trek. And so I was excited about it, and I thought they were off to a pretty good start. The villain was, oh man, now I should have known her name. She's the actress who played Lydia in The Fisher King. She was like Robin Williams' love interest. Damn it, why can't I ever remember her name? I'm so bad with names.
It's not Mercedes. What's her last name?
No. That was Jeff Bridges. Amanda Plummer.
Oh, yeah, sure. Amanda Plummer. She's in lots and lots of shows, that's for sure.
Absolutely. She was the villain. She was the villain this season, and I was willing to forgive things like they all of a sudden reveal that Captain Picard has a son, Beverly Crusher, they had a baby together. He got her pregnant, and then she took off. She had the baby without him knowing. So he did not know he had a son 30 years or something like that. And Beverly's disappeared. She's been gone this whole time with this guy. So I was willing to accept that. That was a pretty big bombshell early on. And so this villain was good. Amanda Plummer playing the villain. She's very over the top. She smoked a cigar, which I thought was kind of cool in Star Trek. You don't see that much anymore. And it was very kind of and so it turns out the villain was the shapeshifters, the changelings from Deep Space Nine, like Odo's species, right? And so they talked about this, and they had this kind of cool idea about this, I think it was some kind of, they could evolve, so like shapeshifters could also like shift into organs, so they could mimic humans better. So you couldn't just test their blood anymore. You had to do other things to detect them. And it was a bit repetitive to do the whole, shapeshifters infiltrate Starfleet thing. They've done it before, and they did it again. So that was the kind of the way this was going. But I enjoyed it. I thought that was kind of it was still, a lot of fun, and you got to see a lot of these characters come back. Now, this second part of the season took a weird right turn and, left turn rather. And then all of a sudden Borg show up. It's the Borg. Of course it's the Borg, right? Cause they're the most popular villain. So the Borg are now behind this. The Borg have aligned themselves with the changelings to defeat the Federation. And it was just so cliche, and every single new thing that came up, I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. So they have this, everything's very conveniently timed out. They basically come up with this thing that allows, So because Captain Picard was the Locutus, he got assimilated back in the show, back in the 90s, right? He had that laser eye and stuff like that. He still had genetic stuff that he passed on to his son. So his son inherited the Borg stuff from him. It was like
it's in his sperm.
It's in his sperm, yes. And I saw, it's so funny, I saw a photo, somebody made a little cartoon of like a sperm with a little Borg, like it was hilarious. So yes, exactly. So he gets, and so because of this, he can hear the Borg Queen. And so the first half of the season, Amanda Plummer is trying to capture him to give him to the Borg Queen to finish the plan. And so and he has this ability to like basically control people. He can like take over people's bodies and like make them do whatever he wants. So this is one cool scene where he kind of takes over Geordie's daughter. So, and they have the kids, like Geordie has kids and Worf doesn't. Worf is cool. He's still kind of a hardcore, warrior guy. Everybody was fine. Data was a little bit weird. They had a thing where like they recreated Data in a old body in Brent Spiner's current body so that they didn't have to do any youngifying of him. And, but it was like he was a new personality with combination of Data lore and other things. So that was okay. But the finale kind of jams it all together in this crazy, like, I don't know, the Federation. So the Borg, once they get Jack Crusher, that's, Picard's son's name, named after Beverly Crusher's first husband who died. Once they get him, the Borg get him, they assimilate him, and then he can broadcast to all the young people, Kenton, all the Gen Z, anybody 22 and under are affected by this signal that he sends out.
Oh my.
So it's just the young people take over. And it's not clear what happens to the old people on these ships. So basically they take over all these, and it's Unification Day or something. It's this big holiday celebration in which they gather all of the Federation starships around Earth at the same time, coincidentally. And so at this point, the young people are taking over all these ships, so they're being taken over by the Borg. But there's also older people, presumably, like the captain and all these other people there on the ship. The only ship we're really concerned with is the one we're like following along with, which is 7 of 9, who's of course in this, and her crew who are trying to take back their ship, which is called the Titan. And so that was kind of their thing, but it was really ultimately just Borg zombies, and without all the cool attachments of the Borg, which makes the Borg, I think. That's important. So that, I think, was, that was just a part of it. And every, like, I'm just watching this and going, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me every time something happened. And guess what? When they cut off the signal, they all go back to normal. Their skin turns back to normal. Everything's fine. All good. So I didn't like it at all. I'll just say that.
Oh, wow. That's quite a story. And I also thought that the first season had a terrible ending, Picard. They have trouble landing the ending.
Yeah, they do. It started out well. Like, I really did like that first season of Picard, except for there are a few things along the way,
agree.
But overall it was good. Yeah, the ending wasn't great, and the second season was a disaster, and then this one started well, but it went off. Like, they brought him back. They have the Enterprise D, so they go, I said this last week, Geordie has restored it, so they have to use it because it's analog. It's an analog ship that doesn't work with this other thing that the Borg can't control it. Why not? They could control it 30 years ago when you met the Borg. Why can't they? Anyways, there's all kinds of leaps. The other thing they took was Alice Krige returned as the Borg Queen. And she played the Borg Queen in the movie First Contact. And then when the Borg Queen would return, and I'm watching Voyager right now, and the Borg Queen has been in a couple episodes of the later seasons. It's another actress playing her. And it was another actress playing her last season when it was the Borg Queen in the past. This is season 2. Don't watch it. It's stupid. So this is, it was Alice Krige, but it wasn't her. It looked like, it was like an animatronic looking, because she was like half, how she like has no body, but all real kind of, it almost looked like a zombie version of her. It was weird. It did not look like Alice Krige at all. The voice sounded familiar, but I was like, it could have been anybody until I saw the credits. I wouldn't have known. So again, it's just not great.
I have a practical question. Was Picard's son bald?
No, not at all. Full head of hair. Full head of hair. Missed opportunity.
He can transfer the Borg gene, but not the bald gene through his sperm. Okay. That makes it even funnier.
Yeah, that's right.
That's good stuff.
So there you go. That's all you need to know about Picard. And it looks like they're teasing another show based on this, which is going to be, the ship is now so here's, and then the big reveal at the end. This is another big moment. And they kept having these moments, like it was kind of like the end of the last Lord of the Rings movie where they kept ending and ending. And like there's another, I'm like, oh my God, is this fucking over yet? This thing kept another scene where they do stuff. So they have this scene where they're like all going to meet up and they're like, Picard's like, oh, I didn't know we're coming here. What's going on? And they're like, oh, we didn't want to tell you. There's one more last honor, sir. And so they're coming up to the ship, the one that they've been flying around in that's been called the Titan. It was rechristened. And I'm like, oh, they named it. Guess what I thought they named it?
The Enterprise.
No, Picard. I thought, oh, they named it Picard.
The USS Picard. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why would they not have a ship named Picard?
Right.
No, it was the Enterprise. It was the Enterprise G. The Enterprise G. That's it. That's all it's basically the news. So this is the show. It's going to be this Enterprise G with 7 of 9 as captain. Picard's son as a special something or other. Like basically he doesn't have to go to Starfleet Academy. He just gets fast tracked through. He's a special advisor, and then 7 of 9 is a love interest, and that's it. And then some other characters on the crew. But it's like this is the show. This is the show they're now coming up on, and I'm getting a little overloaded with Star Trek at this point because there's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Although I like the idea of like a sitcom with Picard and his son that he didn't know he had, and I could picture the whole setup where he meets him, and he's bald and he looks just like him. But he doesn't realize that it's his son.
Yes,
like you could say it like that with a laugh track, like the classic sitcom stuff.
Sure.
You'd get old actors on sitcoms who are like, and he's kind of getting up there now. And so you could just have him sitting in his easy chair, dropping one-liners.
Yeah. It's like shit my dad said, except in Star Trek form, right?
Shit the captain said. Oh, that's funny. That would be a great show. I mean.
All right, let's talk about another great show, of course, The Mandalorian, season 3, chapter.
Another great show. You just said it was terrible.
No, the one you're describing. The one you're describing is great. And this is also great.
Oh, I see.
Not the one I was talking about.
And by the way, did we lose every single fan of Star Wars during that?
Maybe.
Picard
I hope they can appreciate that I was slagging Star Trek. Despite all that, I still love Star Trek. Okay, so we cut in and we're cut in to the action. We're still they're trying to get out of the temple, get out safe. They're actually talking to Axe. Axe is speeding in the air. He's just going straight up into the atmosphere.
How great is that? I didn't even know they could do that.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm like, holy crap. I didn't he's just going to go straight into space, straight up to the cruiser. And so basically they're letting him know we need help here. We've been ambushed. They're just kind of filling him in on what's going on. So Axe all right, I'm going to go get the backup. So hang tight. We'll be back. And so he goes, and then now they have to get out.
That's great. I also love his entrance into the ship, and he's running as it was like, whoa! And then we see
helmet off. He's like, all right, get out of here.
That's great. And then when they leave and you see the guy, I'm not sure if it's a guy, you see the Mandalorian sliding, into the dropship as well. And it just looks like that's the fun of their maneuvering. That's be the part you're looking forward to the most, is the part where you get to slide or fly in and just keep running. That looks so great.
Yeah, but before we get there, of course, we have here Mando, who's been taken off by the other stormtroopers, the dark troopers in white. They're basically taking these guys on. He doesn't have any weapons. He's just fighting them his hands are tied, but he still manages to burn one of them and then take out the other guy. And then he's about to be taken down, but then, of course, Grogu comes along with his IG-12 suit and saves him, basically just saves his life.
It's quick.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be that quick. I thought I would have put money on Boba Fett and Cobb Vanth. R5D4 radio back to Tatooine. But they could, and same with the X-Wing squadron. I thought it has to be that because our guy's stuck. He's not going to get out, but it was pretty easy for, him and Grogu to get him out of those circumstances.
Well, all he had to do is basically Grogu's got the strength of IG-11 in his arms. He basically and grabs him, pulls him back, and gives him Mando a chance to fight back. And once he does that, that seems to be his thing, is giving Mando a chance to fight back. That came up later on as well.
Yeah.
So, and then I love that once he goes, he's like, he's spraying him with the Bacta spray he's got. He's like, oh, I forgot he had that, right? All these cool things that callbacks to like season 1. He's like, I'm okay. So he's just making sure, and he looks so cute. Now, I don't know if you did this as well, but now when I look at that, when I see them walking, I'm looking at Grogu. I'm not looking at IG-12's head. I'm just looking at Grogu in the middle there. That's who's important in that suit.
Yeah, it's fun to watch that, see him walking. He's easier to see as well. Like you can.
Yeah, he's at the same level level as Mando, so that's good as well.
Although we may never see that again, but it was fun while it lasted, and I like that. I liked it. I like that Grogu could return the favor, could rescue the Mandalorian the same way the Mandalorian looks out for him. Yeah. That was great.
Yeah, and great expression as he's saying, "Okay, kid, we gotta keep going. We gotta fight Gideon. We can't take off now." And then we're into the beginning of it. This one's called The Return. The return of a lot of things, I guess.
I thought maybe Luke was going to show up when I saw The Return.
The Return. It's Star Wars. You got to put The Return. The Return of something.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we go back with Bo-Katan. Mando's talking to Bo-Katan, letting him know what's going on. He says, I'm going after Moff Gideon. And basically they're like, we're still trying to get out. I don't know what else is going on here.
Is this but do they go look at the vegetation?
They do, but before that, here's the thing where they say before that, they send off the ships to, the fighters, TIE fighters and all that.
Some great shots there of the TIE fighters taking off. Some great perspective shots. So good. And I love the whole idea. It kind of goes in passing, but I don't know if we've seen it before where all of our guys go down through the clouds and then seconds later, all the TIE fighters come up through the clouds. And it's like, whoa, we just missed them. But it's like,
how could they not have collided in midair?
Right. You'd think they would have seen they were pretty close. The camera, I think it's a static camera, but I still like it as a gag. It's a really good gag where it's like, quick everybody, hurry. And it was like, let's sneak away. And you go through the clouds and a second later, it's like a kid hiding in a closet or something. It's fun. I love it.
Yeah. So, basically, Gideon has to go after him now. They've got a little tracker on these guys, and they're going after him and then we get a little bit of sneaking around, which is cool. It kind of harkens back to the very first sneaking around on the Death Star. Yeah. So we have, that going on. He contacts R5. He needs R5's help the same way Luke needed help when they were in the Death Star. So again, this is all making me feel like the original trilogy.
Yeah. Oh, very much so.
I love R5's scared sounds.
R5 is the secret hero of this episode. Really, R5 gets things rolling.
Of the season. He does a lot.
Oh right? Yeah, he really gets things rolling here. He really plays an R2-D2 role here.
He's got little jets. He's got rockets on his things like R2 has in the prequels.
Yeah, he also has the same relationship with the mouse droid. He can plug in just like R2 did on the Death Star. Like that was pretty good. And then we had at the same time, we had the callback to Phantom Menace with the red, force fields that you can unleash one at a time. And what a great concept that is. So you can see the battalions that you have to fight one wave at a time. And so when you're defeating the current battalion, the next one is standing behind waiting for you.
That's right. And it's like a dancing through it almost kind of feels like that when they, Bruce Lee did that thing where they're advancing through the different levels of the tower. Like that kind of a
what
thing.
What movie is that? The Raid?
Well, the Raid is the modern movie, but the one of, I think it's Game of Death, the one of Bruce Lee and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, that's like back in the day, and he just walks upstairs and fights another person.
Right.
And this is kind of like, but there becomes a time where R5 gets distracted by the mouse droids. And then basically it's like, again, it's the same thing as when they lose the communicator and they get distracted, R2-D2 and C-3PO get distracted and they can't stop the trash compactor. But he does end up helping them and he does get through. Now we're cutting back and forth here quite a bit. We have Axe coming back to the, cruiser. This is when he just has this great, entrance. So he comes in, lands, and he's running and then he's off to come on. And these guys are like, what? What's going on? We're going to leave the capital ship? What's going on? But it's a good, and you said they're going to be a sitting duck in orbit last week, and they were, but that's what they wanted. They wanted the cruiser to be a sitting duck because who cares? It's not even their ship. It's an Imperial ship. They can get another one. right? They're like, we'll just use this as a decoy. You guys go help Bo-Katan, and I will keep the TIE fighters busy up here for a little bit while you guys do that, right?
Yeah, and the whole plan, it's a good, I thought he was dead for sure. Right from the beginning, I was like, this guy will not live. But I also pretty quickly, last week who's the traitor? Who's it gonna be? And the answer was nobody is the traitor. And this is and I thought he was one of our suspects potentially, but, it became pretty evident that he was a big hero, early on. And I thought, well, it can't be him. And I thought maybe the crew of the ship. And then it's like, nah, it's not them. So that left us with the armorer. And then we find out pretty quickly it's not her either. And it's nobody. There is no
bit of a
traitor.
false red herring or whatever you call that. And that's fine. I mean, that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah. It seemed like it, but it also seemed that the title of the previous episode sent people scrambling for answers, and there was another answer.
I think the horns as well. A lot of people read too much into the horns, and I think that may have been like probably the armor has a real reason to have those horns, but for Gideon, he probably just thinks they look cool. Right? So that's his whole thing. It's like he just wants to really be a Mandalorian, so he's really embracing it. So now we have the TIE interceptors and bombers attacking the cruiser. So it's Imperial fighting Imperial. It's really kind of funny when you think about it. They're just wrecking their own ship. Like, I don't know if this is specifically one that they stole from Gideon, but that's what they're doing. They're just trashing their own stuff here.
And I like also that they can disable it, and then the ship loses its ability to fly, and so then it crashes into the planet. So, knowing that, you're kind of protected within the ship from their fire. So that's a good plan. He had a good plan.
Yeah. And now we're back with Mando, and he's fighting his way across must be so frustrating to be those guards like stuck behind the shield. Hey, can't do anything. And the other thing I was thinking about while I was watching this is like in the Phantom Menace, these shields are like on an automatic cycle or something. Yeah. Remember, they're like sitting there waiting, and there's this great moment where like where Qui-Gon just like sits down to meditate, to clear his mind before the battle. Like, just love that so much. But these are like on manual. so why can't these guys, the guys on the other side, like override or press a button or something to open it? I don't know. This seems like a weird setup.
It's because R5D4 is controlling it all.
Oh, okay.
That's
why. Just like one at a time.
Yeah, that's right. They can't override it because he's got it. And I actually thought I thought there was an opportunity for comedy, but I'm glad they didn't do it. But where they could have done it, he opened it and then they'd go, oh, we can do it. And then he'd close it again. He could actually mess with them in that scenario. But I guess time was wasting, so
they had a lot to get through in here. Now we have him, of course, having a confrontation with the Most Droid, and I have to say, like, my laugh out loud moment in this episode is when the Most Droid comes back with all his friends,
and they have nothing. They got nothing.
They got little sirens. They got little sirens going on. They're all like banding together to get R5 out of there, and then he's just like, "All right, I'm out," and he just flies.
Yeah. But they have nothing in terms of any kind of they all they have is a siren. They can't fight you. They can bump into you basically is their only power, and they can irritate you with a siren. So I like that too. And I sort of like that, okay, I'll finish my task because this isn't too hard, and they'll just fly away.
What is what is the purpose of a Most Droid in the Star Wars universe?
It's like a guard or keeps tabs. It's like a moving alarm, I guess.
I feel like it was a messenger of some kind. It was in an era.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, when this was written in an era before the internet, right? So the instant communication was not necessarily a thing back then. So I think they were meant as like messengers, like kind of like the tubes that you have, the pneumatic tubes that send messages through the thing. Okay, now the big moment comes where we come into the clone room. So Mando has fought his way down through the guards, and now he's come across a bunch of clones. And it turns out that they are clones of Gideon. Wow, this guy is really a narcissist. He is making clones of himself. This is all, when he said the best thing about this suit is that I will be in it, he was not kidding. They're all going to be him, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Although when I first saw it, I thought it was a bunch of Snokes. I thought we were going to see our first Snoke. And then when it turns out it's all him, that made good sense because of the previous week where he said the best thing about it is I'm in it. And so it's all about him. And when the clone opened his eyes, I was like, that's gross and horrible.
It scares Grogu too, right?
Yeah. Grogu backs up like, yuck. And I wasn't convinced. I thought well, two things. The first thing is I wasn't sure when they exploded if that we'd then see them. I guess they'd be naked, but I don't know. Where we'd see them, they'd actually start fighting. I was a little worried, but no, that killed them. And then the second thing that it made me wonder was, were all of the flying dark troopers clones of him too? Like, if they would have taken off their helmets, would they have all been Moff Gideon?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, no, that's a different whatever.
Yeah, I feel like he was just at the end of this program where he had them cloned and he had the Force. He said he gave them the Force powers, which we didn't get to see because they didn't live. I felt that those things blew up a little bit too easily, those caskets or whatever they were. We hit one button and they'll just spew out their liquid. Like, isn't there something more to this?
Life is cheap, that's for sure. If you're a clone, life is cheap because it didn't take a lot. And maybe, but that's what they're in back to fluid or whatever. So you dump the fluid. They're not fully formed yet or whatever. And that's enough. That's enough to take care of them, maybe. But who even knows? They could have been fighting a clone for all we know. I mean, although you're right. I think he does say that they were just ready or something, or
they're almost ready and you smothered them is what he said, right? That's his thing. So, I think though the thing about, it does pave the way for Snoke because he does, I think that he now has done the research, him and Dr. What's-His-Face has done the research to say, okay, you can clone somebody with Force abilities. And so Snoke will be that will be Project Necromancer that we heard about with Hux's dad. And that'll probably play out in maybe Ahsoka, maybe something else coming down the line, maybe the Mandalorian movie, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that's a tease for something coming down. And now we have the garden scene. So now we're like in the nice little underground garden. So these guys aren't so bad off, right? They thought they looked like they were horrible, like Mad Max kind of thing. And now we're like more about Mad Max, the one with Tina Turner, because there was a part where they were in paradise, right? Remember that part?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thunderdome, Beyond Thunderdome. Yeah. So now they have this little garden area and they say we planted it. We're farmers. We can grow things here. Things can grow here. It's just like in another movie I'm thinking of.
And it made me think of too. We have a new tourist attraction here in the city called the Leaf, the Assiniboine Park Leaf, and that's kind of based on this premise where they've built an indoor kind of terrarium. But what I thought was, if there's I'm assuming there's going to be another season of The Mandalorian, and in that season, it would not surprise me if there's been a passage of time and all of the stuff that we saw growing there, we will see growing on the surface of the planet. Yeah, I'm guessing something like that. But I liked it. It looked nice. And when we next see Mandalore, I hope it's sort of in full bloom in terms of flowers and in terms of its glory.
Yeah, I think that's where they're going with that for sure. And it's nice to know that planet has a future and there's something worth fighting for. And oh boy, do they fight. These next few scenes where we have the Mandalorian army, like it's literally an army of Mandalorians flying in on jetpacks. We got the Imperials coming out in their jetpacks. And then she raises the sword like this, and you're like, yeah! Like I literally went, yeah! As that was happening, because she's just like incredible. It's like Braveheart with Mandalorians, right? That's exactly what this is.
It was incredible. Like that's what I expected to see in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Because remember, in Attack of the Clones, George Lucas was like, we're bringing back Boba Fett. There's going to be clones. They're going to be fighting, and everybody pictured an army of Boba Fett's. I remember, I was just like, yeah, we're going to get an army of Boba Fett's. It's going to be incredible. And we never got it. And so now we got it. And just like we knew then, it's amazing. We wanted to see it because we knew it'd be amazing. And in full flight, wow, they kick ass. The armor flying, and that's where, as I say, when the armor jumps down out of the dropship, it was like, whoa, like now it's really
she was
on.
Flying it, and then she's like, all right, I'm gonna get in there too. And she just again has her tools, whack, 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 with her hammer and her her pincers.
Just smashing them wherever they go. Those troopers don't stand a chance. I don't know if we actually
dark sabers too, cutting through them.
I don't think we saw Mandalorians bite the dust, did we? I think it was all dark troopers that we saw getting
Yeah, pretty
getting
much.
smashed
They
up.
do.
Yeah.
Like, and I guess that does carry on in the tradition of stormtroopers being inept at fighting, right? They're just
Yeah.
there for show, really. They're there to look impressive, but they can't actually do what they're supposed to do. So that's fine. And again, very much a Star Wars style. We're cutting between that action and the sneaking. So we have Mando and Grogu sneaking around. Oh, now they've come. Now we come to the big spiel of what do you call it? A little exposition here from Gideon explaining what was going on. You smothered them before they could draw their first breath. Like, was he going to be a father to them? Is that what kind of relationship this was? Oh, he's so upset.
Well, I mean, he loves himself. That's what this is all about. I mean, he's a raging narcissist, which is funny. Like last week, he gave us the speech about I'm in it. And then so this, of course, like that was actually a foreshadow to this, I think, where they,
yes.
like, so we could remember it when we saw it and go, yeah, oh yeah, this guy's full of himself. So it's funny.
Yeah.
He doesn't want himself to get snuffed.
Yeah, it's still full on, like, so him and Mando start going at it. And I love, like the punches still matter with all this armor on. Like, a punch is a punch, right? A punch will hurt. Oh, here comes the Crimson Guard, the three Crimson Guard that he got on requisition from the Dark Council.
I thought we were in the clear until they walked out. And then I went, oh no, like,
could you see where it was going?
No, I thought Grogu was going to see the Mandalorian killed, I thought they were going to do it. They were going to kill the Mandalorian. And I was just like, no, I was beside myself with worry. Like, I really thought that this
because we saw just saw what's his name, Paz Vizsla get killed in this exact same way. But now they go and leave. Like, they say Grogu and he's like, no, and they go after him. Like, do you think they have orders to get him or something? Why do they all leave and go after Grogu instead of, like, one of them could stay there and the other two could go get Grogu?
Oh yeah, there's different mathematical possibilities, but for all we know is the three of them seem to stick together. And like maybe that's their primary directive, maybe, because, and I like that they were easily distracted, and then maybe they thought, oh no, this is Moff Gideon's fight, and we've got it well in hand now, so now we're going after this, what should be easy, and that's when then I went from being afraid for Din Djarin to being terrified, and that they really do it to us, where the slow motion Grogu going backwards, looking like he's flailing, and the doors, like, didn't you just I would have just jumped in there and killed those Crimson Guard. I was like, no, they must be stopped.
Well, we all felt like Mando Ray said was no, and we're like, yeah, no, we're so the exact same way. Stop, yeah, here he comes. No. And so, because we know that he's pretty much held, like, you know, he's all well and good to grab stormtroopers by the neck and stuff, but against these guys, he doesn't have anything to fight with. He can't coordinate that well. He just learned how to use a suit, so he's pretty much useless in it. So he abandons it immediately. He's very smart, Grogu, and he gets out of that thing and flips around because he can use the Force. And of course, he's lucky enough to have been run into a room with track lighting, so he can run along the lighting up top. And he's laughing. He's like running around, and they're just trying to swipe at him. They're missing. He's just, you can't get me. So that just shifted in a second, that scene. That was hilarious.
Yeah, the second he jumped up and was running, then I was like, oh, he's having fun. This is great. But then it started getting the sense it's not that great. It's not that fun. They're momentarily kind of like trying to catch this little guy running around like a pinball machine. Like, it reminded me of how the way Yoda fought.
Yep.
A little bit. Yeah. But I was like, he can't do this forever. How, and I kept thinking, okay, and the Mandalorian is still incapacitated. What could we possibly do? And it actually surprised me what happens next when, our pal Bo-Katan happens to be flying nearby, which we weren't really sure, right?
Well, I think that was always her goal. Like, it really felt right. As soon as she shows up, I'm like, oh, of course, this is the fight. This is Bo-Katan and Gideon. She has a vendetta. He humiliated her. She has to take him out. And she's like, I got this. Go save your kid. And he's off to save Grogu. And that's like, oh, of course, that's what's going to happen. It just completely makes sense. So then we have this, but what doesn't make sense is a stupid electric thing he's got. Is this the same thing that the other guys have? Kind of, I guess. It's got the purple lightning. So it's like another rod with crackling lightning on it.
It's a combination lightsaber and a stun whatever. Remember the crowd control stormtrooper had one in Force Awakens, like a stun stick or something.
Yeah. But this does seem to be, these guys very much remind me of the three guys in, is it 3 or 4 in, The Last Jedi that Rey and what's his name fight? So.
They're clearly not the same ones because,
no.
As we learned, but I thought they are the same ones, and that scared me even more. If they're the same ones, they live to see another day.
But it's the same weapons. Like when they, like one kind of like wraps around his arm, another one, like maybe this is how they're trained. Like they have the 3, it must be 3. I'm thinking, I don't even have the movie in front of me. Anyway, so they're fighting, and once Mando shows up, it becomes more manageable. Grogu can help him with the Force, so it's not just about like the 3 of them against Mando, he wouldn't be able to handle them, but Grogu can take one of them out, shove him aside, shove his weapon away, do these little things to help Mando, and that's enough. The 2 of them working together defeat the guard.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
That's what it is, and they're a great team, and I liked the Crimson Guard thrown off by like what amounts to kind of like the old, I don't like the trick you play with your pets, which is you dangle the thing and the pet comes running and then you pull it out of the way at the last second. So he did that with the, whatever that was, the thing that he's using to, like
the sword. It's the sword, essentially.
Whatever it is. Yeah. So he pushes that away. I also like it. The one guy falls down, and the 3 badass, coolest looking dudes just end up looking like fools, which is great. But then, just like the previous fight, it really is a brutal fight when you get down to it. It's more brutal than what we've kind of seen. It's not like there's blood or anything, but it is like I'm going to snuff you out scenario.
Well, he's fighting for his life and Grogu's life at that point, right? And so he's got nothing to lose. But again, it was just he needed that little bit of help from Grogu, and that was enough to give him the edge. And so, he just kills those guys unabashedly. And then, of course, we have Axe Woves coming in hot with this cruiser. Oh,
like there isn't enough. Like there isn't enough going on. That's what I thought. I was so stressed out. This whole thing.
Clearing out. Yeah.
I'm like, they're not. Oh, good. They're safe. No, they're not. Oh, they're safe. No, they're not. Oh, they're safe. No, they're not. Like there's too much. Yeah.
Right. So we have.
He's coming in hot, and I thought he was dead. Didn't you?
Axe, yes. I wasn't like, I mean, and there's no doubt that all these Mandalorians would give their lives in this cause, right? They're all in it. Yeah. So he would crash in there, but I guess he got out. Did he get out?
He gets out. He breaks the window, and
that's right. Yes.
And I have to point out that Holdo could have learned something from this in The Last Jedi.
That's right.
I thought, like you don't need to be in the ship for the bad part. You can get out
autopilot.
of it. Yeah. I think that's right. You can fly out the damn window.
There you go. Leia should have known
right
that,
armor.
right? Leia flew out the window.
Yeah. Holdo was a bad planner. Because all you needed was that to be able to. I loved it when he escaped. Because now, remember last week, that biatch is a spy. And then this week, he's a hero. He's like our favorite Mandalorian. You know, he oh my goodness. So good. I love what he does in this episode.
Yeah, he got a lot of really good screen time and does a lot of cool stuff. So Axe Woves is now cool officially. Yes. So we cut back to Bo-Katan's fighting Gideon, and then Mando comes back and helps her. So it's both of them taking on Gideon. It still proves to be a bit of a challenge. Everyone else is taking off. Here comes a Star Destroyer. Oh, sorry, it's a cruiser. It looks like a Star Destroyer. Totally looks like a Star Destroyer coming in. And basically they're like, I guess they must be pretty deep, right? Like this is coming in and they're like a few levels down. And they just keep fighting him. And they're both like, again, every time, like he's just trying to kill. Grogu has no protection, right? He's got no armor. Oh, he's got his little, I forgot. He's got his little chainmail. Bet you that would protect him from a blaster hit, hey?
We haven't needed it yet.
Oh, that move was cool. The cool move was when he did a slide. Grogu does this slide where he like slides and he pushes with the Force.
He saw his dad do it earlier.
Yeah, and he pushes him back. Yes, that was so cool. Yeah.
And I was saving this for this moment, which is this was the episode of the cool slide, which we see it like 4 or 5 times. Like we see the landing and running, the slide into the drop ship. We see Mando use the slide a couple times. We see Bo-Katan use the slide, and then finally Grogu's like observed and he does the slide, and it is, yeah, I can't get enough of that. That is a great move.
Yeah, it works well for everybody. Everybody slides. And then we see Grogu one more time just to protect them from the fireball. What's his name goes up in flames? Gideon goes up in flames. Everybody's exploding. Well,
is he
I'm
dead?
going to say, yes, that is a death, Kenton. That is a definite death. Because we had to be
he's wearing Beskar.
No, he's dead. Because otherwise they would have died too. Because he protects them with a force bubble. Great shot. This shot of him like from behind, kind of holding it out. So some great.
Make us a T-shirt or a poster or a button. I want or figures. Like I want the scene immortalized.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
That to me was the money shot, and once again, I was still fretting. I was so stressed out for this whole episode that when I saw this scene, I spontaneously just cheered and clapped because and it's great. And once again, Grogu is the little hero. It's so good. It's every chance we get to see that, it's always great when he can be a little hero.
Yes. And then we cut very quickly again. It moves along quickly. Not a lot of time spent. They go to the actual mines of Mandalore, the waters of the whatever that they have to bathe in. So I guess they're rebaptizing everybody now that they have the actual waters. Because we see this kid that was saying the creed do it again in this water. And then they ask, go ahead.
I was thinking, if the giant turtle jumped out of there again, he could look into the camera and go, again? Or something. Or this always happens to me. Yeah. I get no respect. He lifts the helmet. I get no respect. Like there could have been a million different ways, but I'm glad he finally finished his saying the creed.
Yes, that's right. So then we have, Mando comes in with Grogu and wants him to be able to say it. And he's like, they're like, no, he's too young. He can't speak. And he says, what is the exception they make? Oh, he adopts him.
Yeah.
Right? That's the exception. Is when you adopt him, he doesn't need to say the creed.
And he's not, Grogu Jaren. He's Din Grogu.
Right. So Din is their last name.
I guess it's like, in Europe, sometimes the name that you call the person is their last name. I think.
Well, in Asia, in China, some names go that way. Where is it? There's another place as well that does the last. Oh, well, in Star Trek, the Bajorans. Yeah. I was thinking of a fictional alien race in the Bajorans, like Kira Nerys in Deep Space Nine. Kira is her last name. She's Major Kira. Because that's her last name, but it comes first. So yeah, that's what they do. So yeah, he is Din Grogu.
That's a great name. It works. I don't know why it works
so well.
Yeah, it does. For whatever reason, I like the sound of that name. And I don't think anybody expected to hear that. And I don't hear any complaint. Oh, and of course we're skipping something big, by the way. But I'm glad we are because we gotta save it for last. There's a little piece of controversy that has captured the imagination of people. So we're gonna come around to that. But I do love this scene. I do love, it made me very sad when the armorer said Grogu's parents are either very far away or if they're even alive.
Right.
And that made me sad, but at the same time, that is it. Hey, come on, guys. And where could we end the story of the Mandalorian? For the purpose of the show, I think they could end it finding Grogu's actual parents. I think I think that could be a very touching, cool moment, and who knows where they might be, but I like it. I like the tease. It just made me sad that little baby Grogu's sitting there listening to the fact that his parents are either far away or dead. Mm-hmm. That, just a sad thing. But he's cute as a button sitting there on those steps.
Yeah.
And then he looks into the water and, he's communing.
Yes, I guess he feels the mythosaur down there, and the mythosaur just hangs out, does not move. Apparently, just is there, but he's there. He feels them. So what's happening here is, you must leave Mandalore and take your apprentice on his journeys, which is something I assume is going to be season 4.
Oh yeah.
So different journeys, different adventures, just as your teacher did for you. So I think we'll also get flashbacks to when Din Djarin was going through this as well. Because we still don't know a lot about his back. We know that, he was found during the whatever, his parents were killed. He was raised by Mandalorians, but we don't really know much about how he was raised. So that's what we're going to find out in season 4. And now we're going down under the water. The camera's panning under, fading away deeper and deeper. And then there's just the mythosaur opening his eyes. Do you think we're going to see the mythosaur ever, like fully? Yeah?
Oh yeah. We will see that, but I sort of half expected to see him emerge, but I'm glad they didn't go there. I'm glad that we saved this up for another time. I thought we would need the mythosaur to take out the Imperial base, but I like the way they did it better. I think they saved up something for later, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. I don't think they needed to use it this time. And I think when we see it, it'll make it more awe-inspiring. And now we have a hint that it could be Bo-Katan, who has something to do with it, or it may be baby Grogu, Din Grogu, who has something to do with it. And
right.
However it plays out, it sounds pretty. I think it'll be a good moment and some future thing.
They light the torch. The Great Forge is now relit on Mandalore. So they're all they clap like this. They mark they do their arms together. It's like for Mandalore. So it looks like these guys are rebuilding. That's great to hear.
Mm-hmm. For Mandalore. And Axe Woves leads the For Mandalore. Another reason to love him. He's got a good voice. It's like a scene out of Game of Thrones when they light that forge. Yeah,
he's going to be, I think he's going to be around next season.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Then I thought he was going to be going back to Navarro, but he doesn't. He goes to the Rebel base.
Yes.
He goes to see Kim's Convenience. Now, why is he here again? I don't remember.
Because he's going to be doing work. He says,
oh, yes.
I'll do missions for you. And he's like, that'll never get approved. He goes, well, that's why you're not going to tell anyone. And he says, I'll think about it. And he goes, you already have. And that's I like it. I like when we get a little humor out of Din Djarin. That was good. I like that line. And we also see Baby Grogu's looking up at an assassin droid. And, we needed that earlier in this season. So would you mind if I took that as an advance? And then that leads us to what we knew had to happen at some point. And that is our pal, IG-11 is back and he is protecting the citizens of Navarro.
Right. He's like a marshal or a sheriff, basically. Right.
I was excited to see him again.
Yeah, so this sets up some part of next season, I guess. He'll probably have these little side adventures while he does stuff with Grogu. It'll probably be incorporated into his curriculum, so to speak, as he I love Grogu's just sitting there snacking. He's got the chips or whatever, the Cheetos.
He loves snacks.
It's not a good thing it's not alive this time.
Yeah.
You're right. You just kind of summed up the conversation. And we do have IG 12. I guess, is he IG 12 again?
No, he's IG 11. He goes back
to IG 11. Yeah. As a marshal, he's got a nice little thing. And then we have, Din Djarin on his nice little ranch on Navarro. He's got a little cottage with a pond in front. And we have Grogu. This is a great shot. Grogu is lifting the frog out of the pond. He's about to eat that frog. He's totally going to eat that frog. And then we've got this like little, what do you call that when you like zoom in on the little circle? That's such like an old school thing to do.
It is. It's cartoons do it.
Yeah.
Where they zoom in on something and, it shows you it gives you a lingering moment on something to focus on.
It's like, look at this part of the screen, right? That's what it is.
Yeah. And I guess it's also a tribute to the, old film techniques that Lucas used in, Star Wars. We've never seen this, I don't think, in any other Star Wars, but I like it. It cracked me up when I saw it. And really, the ending is a feel-good ending. And I think
circle zoom. It's just called a circle zoom.
The circle zoom, I think it just punctuates the feel-good ending. And at this point, I was ready to relax. I was ready, like him. I was like, that was enough. That was too much stress in my life. So it was nice there. And so then we go to the credits and there are no extra scenes. There's no Thrawn. And I kind of was thankful. On one hand, I was excited to see that stuff. On the other hand, I liked that last image. I think they probably liked it too, which is why they decided to stay right where they are. There is one thing that we have not talked about that is the controversy that came out of this episode, and that is the Star Wars fans who cannot believe the Darksaber has been crushed. They cannot believe it. And they think it's a combination of, it's an affront. All these
I
stories.
totally missed that. When did it get crushed?
Moff Gideon crushes it in Bo-Katan's hand.
During the final fight?
And, and it falls to the ground and it's smoking. Okay. And it does appear to be crushed. And that's when she says, and he goes, Mandalorians love their trinkets. And she goes, she says, no, we're stronger together. And that's when the other two come out. And I like that because I thought the whole point, it's symbolic. In fact, nobody needs the Darksaber anymore. They've retaken Mandalore. There's no doubt that she's the leader of the Mandalorians. Nobody is vying for the throne as it stands. Who cares anyway? Like that's the end of the story of the Darksaber, and we can move on. Now, can it be fixed? Anything can be fixed. Just like, is Moff Gideon dead? Anybody could come back in Star Wars. So I don't know. I don't think they need to bring back the Darksaber. I don't think they need to bring back Moff Gideon. I think I'm fine with it the way they left it. And I think Ahsoka will set up some other stuff that's going on. And they have not announced season 4 of The Mandalorian yet. I assume they will. And in season 4, we will have Din Djarin and Grogu going out into the galaxy, doing their thing. And inevitably, they will come into contact with some of the forces that we meet, I think, in Ahsoka. And I don't think we need Moff Gideon anymore, given that.
No, I think I was already done with him. I was kind of not thrilled with him being a villain again, but I guess we did have to see him die, and I do think he actually did die. And explosions were, I want to say this again, explosions were the order, because in Star Trek, they also kill people with explosions. The Borg Queen had to explode to die. That's the only way to be sure. It's the only way to be sure that they're actually dead is to explode them.
They can just get their DNA and clone them again.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Anything's possible.
This does plant a lot of seeds, right? That I do think they're going to go. I like that it does feel a lot like what they used to do with the Marvel stuff, when they would just hint at little things to come without it being a big thing. We got excited about Thrawn. We thought he was going to be a big part of this. He's not. Of course he's not. He's the big bad in Ahsoka. We're going to get that in August, whenever that comes out. Yeah, so I was totally okay with where this ends, and it sums it up in a great way. Yeah, the villain is defeated in a satisfying way as well. Yeah. And I loved it. I was on board with all of this.
Oh, me too. I loved it too. And I think even people who, whatever their issues were with this season, have to say that this is a great last episode. And I've listened to a few podcasts and stuff where it's sort of the biggest complaint seems to be, the Darksaber was trending on Twitter longer than the episode was. It just, for whatever reason, that just seemed
like
whatever.
Up. So all the I've met a lot of people through my con work that really love the Mandalorian culture, even before all this.
Right.
Pre-Mandalorian, this existed. People who make the armor. Mandalorian Mercs is the 501st. They're an organization that helps charity and stuff. So I get that people are upset about it, but hey guys, come on, make a new thing.
Come on.
Let's have a new MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Create something new for people to look for, right? That's all. They're going to have to tell the story about how Maz Kanata, I'm holding them accountable to that. They're going to have to tell us how Maz Kanata got Luke Skywalker's. Maybe they'll tell it in one of those animated ones, the Visions or whatever. That would be cool. But someday they will tell us that story. Okay.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff hanging out there like that. And that, that comes back to J.J. Abrams' kind of loosey-goosey scripts left wide open holes that anyone who wants to fill them and which is what Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, those are the three that take place around the same timeline. Yeah. All of them sort of can have at it in terms of that.
But even also Obi-Wan and the other one too, Andor, all these series the attention to detail is incredible on all of this stuff. And that's what was lacking in the sequel movies.
Right. That's right. Clearly, and even, and I was going to say, so the Darksaber and the second part of the things that people, if there is a criticism, they thought the episode went fast, that we could have, slowed down, but I don't think so. I think it was I think that's the beginning part was just frantic and we needed to solve all our problems. And the second part was where we could relax, as I said, and I was ready for it at that point. That I think it mirrored the story that they were trying to tell. So I think I don't share those criticisms. And I do think the Darksaber, was there, got crushed for a reason. And that is, it's symbolic. It's part of what this entire season was about. So I think, as a season, I enjoy, I'm going to watch it again from the beginning, and then I'll have more to say about whatever people are saying about pacing or whatever. But once again, there's no doubting that the people doing this are fans. They're enjoying telling the story, and I'm enjoying it too. And as I always say, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have earned our respect and our trust. And I do. I trust them. I like the story they're telling. If there's some kind of complaint here or there, I don't think it's a big one. It's definitely not like J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson level. If there's people that have little beefs or whatever, that's all they are, is little beefs.
Yeah.
But I think on the big picture, more, give us more.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be, I'm looking forward to all the stuff they have coming on. While we're on the subject of merch, I did notice I was at Walmart earlier today and I saw a poster, and I almost bought it, but I just didn't have time to stop. But it was the shot of them in the spider of the stars behind them, like when Grogu's in his lap and you see Grogu and him, and they're and that shot is a poster. They have that, which is a really great shot as well. So that's one. They had a bunch of them actually. So there's probably lots of new merch out there as well. I didn't see anything else in the toy section that I hadn't noticed before as far as Star Wars stuff goes.
I've been looking, Walmart has the occasional, it's weird because Walmart has not had much. They sort of had the same Grief Karga week after week after week, a single figure. And then suddenly I'd show up and there'd be one brand new figure. I go, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then I'd show up and then one brand new figure. And and most of the brand new ones were from Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Weirdly enough, where were they keeping these? Or were they just somewhere else in the store? It doesn't even make sense. So they just show up and they're cool. I've seen lots of cool figures. I even saw the armor they had suddenly made an appearance. I came close to buying it and I was like, nah, I'm only gonna buy the must-haves at this point.
Yeah.
And it's not a great figure. It's a great character, but the figure itself doesn't
So they got her fur stole or whatever she wears. That kind of.
It just looks little. I thought the figure looked smaller than the stature of that character on the show. But yeah, so there's stuff kicking around, but I've not seen that poster. I'd probably buy it if I saw it.
I should have bought it now. I'm regretting not stopping.
Oh, I'm sure we can find it.
I'm sure it'll be gone when I go back there. Walmart doesn't have those posters in very long.
I know.
It's never the good ones that stick around in those little poster displays at Walmart.
Walmart has a new aisle with the Mego figures. Whoever, the guy who bought Mego, is producing the occasional figure. And
the one from the 70s, that one with the superhero ones and all that?
They seem to be picking and choosing them rather randomly. I got Young Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, Gene Wilder from Young Frankenstein. I was like, oh my God, this is how could I say no to this? So I bought it. And they had a few other interesting ones, but I sort of left it there. And since then, not really anything. It's almost like they were doing a test run.
Yeah.
On this one. And it's not the toy department. It's by the outdated media department, by the CDs and the and the video games.
Yeah.
Where you go to the bins. Check out.
I will. Yeah.
Check out the figures. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, cool. All right. Any final thoughts on The Mandalorian before we wrap it up there?
No. Let's watch the season again. Are you going to watch it again?
Yeah, for sure. I'll watch it again. Yeah. I feel like it would flow together really well as a movie, even though it would be a very long movie. But it really, you could, and especially the way this picks up, and continues the story, moves it forward right away. It does it every time. So I think this you could binge this very easily. Yeah. And, I'll probably do that at some point.
Oh, that's great. Then we should talk about it one more time probably after we do that.
I'll come back to that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do it soon. But, my final thought is I love it and I want more Mandalorian. That's for sure. Give us more Mandalorian more often. Season 4 for sure. Yeah. But tell us in advance when the series is ending so we don't, it's too stressful.
Well, they said no. I figured that it's going to end with the movie. I think that's the plan. Yeah. So they'll do the season 4 and then a movie. 4 seasons in a movie. And so whenever did they say when the movie's coming out, or they just announced that it was happening?
I don't think they said when. I don't think
so whenever.
Said.
So yeah. But I think that we'll probably get, just kind of thinking the way these things have been working, like I would think next December maybe would be the soonest we could get it, because there's so many other things coming out.
I doubt it. It won't be that early. I think the first one is, I don't think it's that one. What are the other two? Oh, I think the first one's actually the Rey Skywalker movie.
Oh, okay. Well,
the one,
all right.
the least exciting one.
Yeah, well.
In some people's minds.
But also the one they haven't looked at, the one they haven't touched in a long time, right? Is that version, that era of Star Wars. So it's funny. I actually, in some recap somewhere, I heard this, like the Mandalorian era, as being described as the quote unquote present in Star Wars. Whereas I think actually the present is the sequels, is the older ones, right? Because it's 30 years later for us.
Right, that's true.
This is happening right after 1983.
These are prequels.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's weird, but anyway, it's not. It's the era of Star Wars we want to hear about right now, and they're doing a great job of telling the story. So.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vettabonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you in the ass.
Going to Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
TK-421, do you copy?
I'm taking an awful risk, Vader. This had better work.